All right, man. Now we're going to talk about the one that I've been looking forward to. And thanks to you, I actually got to play this game. So I do appreciate that more than you know. Friday the 13th, the game. So hit us off, man. Tell us about this one.
This game has to be one of those games that I sat and waited and waited and waited.
Well, you contributed to their Kickstarter too, didn't you?
I was on board with the Kickstarter as soon as I could. At the point where I jumped on, it was a case where I think they had to hit a goal of around $800,000. Where they had different tiers, you know, they had stretch goals they were interested in hitting. But the point was, somebody who's a huge Friday the 13th fan like myself, it had to happen. Like, we wanted a game that was not made by a major studio, a gaming studio, because we didn't want something that was watered down. We wanted something as true to the films as possible. In fact, I had been following this whole deal since it was called Summer Camp. The team at Gun Media was actually working on a project that was pretty much the game that it is now. Just obviously, it didn't have Jason, it didn't have the Friday the 13th license, but it was a slasher game based on a summer camp. So I mean, it was tipping the hat.
Right. Jason without Jason. Yeah.
Pretty much. And Kane Hodder was involved.
Oh, nice.
Manfredini was involved. So, like, they had the key players there. They just didn't have the license. They didn't have the name.
Right.
They didn't have the main characters they could use. And then when Sean Cunningham kind of came in and gifted based on certain, you know, terms, I guess, from what I understand, if they could meet certain goals and could bring this game to a certain standard, you know, that's when they were kind of gifted the license to use the Friday the 13th, because Sean wanted a Friday the 13th game to come out, since they really hadn't had an offering since the Nintendo.
Yeah. It's a huge gap between
jumping from the Nintendo to rather the PS4, the Steam, or the Xbox One.
Yeah, that's a huge jump.
And I have to say, for $39.99, which was the original drop price, and a game that I know has had, especially at launch, there was all kinds of problems. Especially, I've got the Xbox One version, but like you did say, I did donate to the campaign. I had the steel case version coming. That kind of stuff, but I did have the download information. I've got the Savini Jason. I was excited from the ground level about this game, and still, the whole idea of, you know, 1 versus 7, but at the same time, you know, Jason against seven counselors, and actually it's an 8th. Once somebody dies, somebody can come back as Tommy Jarvis.
Exactly, yeah.
That whole idea is great, because at the same time they're kind of working against each other too, because it's almost like every person for themselves, you know, they're trying to get out with their lives. So
it's an intense game at times, though, man. I'm not gonna lie, when you're playing as a counselor, and you're trying to go through all these different cabins to try to find weapons and this and that, and then you hear the music coming and Jason's coming, he starts bashing out a door. It should get scary. Shit gets a little intense, man.
And he can come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And not to mention kind of the different advantages you have as Jason. But I do have to say that they have made the game fun as playing as a counselor as well.
Yeah.
That you do have the chance to kind of fight back and get a chance to get out of there. And
did your pocket knives ever work? Because mine do not.
I
tried
occasionally.
Like hell. I tried like hell, and I would always die no matter what I get caught. I was in a game for 2 minutes one time, man. And to sit for the next 18 minutes and watch the rest of it play out.
It took me quite a while to finally get the controls down.
Yeah, that was tough.
To kind of figure out the scheme, especially with Jason.
Yeah.
It's kind of soul-crushing when young children, probably elementary school age, are making fun of you because you can't catch them and kill them.
And the fact that they have the headphones and they can hear them talking shit to you. That part does kind of suck. Sometimes you want to punch the TV because some of those little fuckers can be annoying. I'll tell you what, for me though, dude, I like that they brought in, like you said, Tommy Jarvis. You got Shelly, and you got Fox, and then recently was what, Victoria.
Yes.
You're implementing people from the actual movies, which are cool as hell too, because a lot of games don't do stuff like that. You know?
Absolutely. And there was also a couple DLCs. They since the launch of this game, the team has been a small team that it is, has been able to keep working to make the game better, to make the dedicated servers better, to update as much as they can, to fix all the glitches, to fix all the problems with the game. But not only that, but bring you updated Jasons. We got part 4. We got a Nintendo throwback Jason.
Yep. With version of the music too, which is kind of cool.
As well as we end up getting a part 5 Jason.
Yep, sure did.
And
I don't know, man. I like that kill with the hedge clippers when he breaks them apart, puts them in your head. I think that's awesome. Some people sat there and analyzed the fact that, well, if he breaks them apart, how do you put them back together? Who cares? It's a video game. Have fun with it. It's a cool kill, man. Just enjoy it.
I've done,
We have ghosts because Jason just fell.
and I've also done some reading where some people overanalyze the fact that the part 5 Jason
Yeah.
shouldn't be as strong and shouldn't, because he's Roy.
Right.
And
What I think they don't take into account is how much work would go into making him a separate character from every other Jason.
absolutely.
And then, honestly, we probably never would have got Roy in that case because it would have been way too much work to do it.
But the team has also listened to the fan base as well,
Oh, yeah.
because they've done a lot of going into how they've ramped up Part 7 Jason,
Yeah.
because they complained saying that he wasn't strong enough and that he didn't have enough.
The detail to me is crazy that when the mask comes off, I like the Friday the 13th Part 2 Jason, that face is dead on. And when I was a kid, that movie actually freaked me out. So to see that face in the game one night, I was playing, it was like 4 in the morning, and someone knocked my mask off, and it was like, literally the character turned around, looked me in the face, and I was like, oh. It freaked me out, man, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, okay. That's a bit creepy.
This game, for the $40, and it'll probably even come down some in time, especially now, and we'll get to why.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But since this game has been out for over a year now, it's definitely had gone through so many updates and has gotten better over time.
Yeah,
And has really attracted the fans to come back and keep playing and to keep leveling up and to keep looking for the Pamela tapes and to keep on looking for the Tommy files.
And that's tough, man, because some people, and me included, even back in the day when I was more of a gamer, you'd buy a game, you'd play it for so long, you get bored with it.
Absolutely.
This game, for like you said, over a year, has been able to keep people interested. Even if they stray away for a little bit, there's always something they throw in, whether it be a new Jason, a new map, a new character, something that draws you back in to start playing again. And it keeps your attention. Unfortunately, with some other stuff going on that we'll touch on soon, that might not happen for much longer, but all in all, it's still a fun game.
The game overall has to be probably the best horror icon slasher outing as there is. And I mean, I don't know if you're going to cover some of the other games coming out or some of the other Xbox One, PS4 titles. Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, that one I think we are definitely going to talk about.
That has some DLC characters of the horror genre.
Yep. I will say that, and not even, because we are going to talk about that one too, but not even to jump into that so much, I prefer this game over that one. I do like the game, but I prefer this one. This one to me is more lifelike. There's just something about this one that just...
This is a Friday the 13th game through
Yes.
and through, whereas I feel that game was another game that got sprinkled in with these characters later on.
Yeah.
And
To try to get hype train. That's all it is. You know?
and there's nothing wrong with that because there's some enjoyment there as well. I do enjoy that game, and obviously that's another topic for another time. But through and through, there's this game has it's rather, no matter how much you really like the Friday the 13th, if enjoy the story. It is at its core
Yeah, that's true.
Jason in the woods chasing teenagers,
Yep.
trying to put them out of their misery, and they were able to add on a single player mode.
Yeah.
Uh,
I like the challenge mode itself. I really enjoy that.
it definitely kind of gives you some new opportunities and some more
Yeah.
strategy into
A lot of the kills from the movies, which is really cool too.
absolutely.
I like how the mom is part of the game also. For me, like I said, man, to me this kind of sets the standard for not all horror games, but if you're basing it off a movie, that sets the standard. Like I would love to see a Halloween game played like this, with a Dr. Loomis character or a Laurie Strode character, and something like that, or like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game with that much detail and the attention to detail of the game. It would be great. Like these guys can put out all kind of stuff if they get the rights to it.
Absolutely. And I guess maybe this could be the lead-in to where we say that the elephant in the room. Recently, they had just announced that there would be a stoppage of all future DLC content for the Friday the 13th game
Yeah.
due to legal ramifications of a current court situation. It's sad, but watching a lot of videos and understanding, trying to understand, Victor Miller's side of the story as well as Sean Cunningham's side of the story, and I just hope at the end of the day that they can kind of resolve all this stuff, and that hopefully at some point maybe they can get that all worked out, and maybe we can see some more DLC release that we were kind of promised, or maybe they can work on a sequel.
I tell you the two things that I would love to see. That paranoia mode I thought was awesome, because you get to play the game as the counselors, and as you're playing, you have to figure out which one of these counselors is Jason. So they take the Friday the 13th Part 5 storyline and bring it to life in a game, which I thought was awesome. And I'm really bummed about the Jason X and Grendel map. Like, I wanted to play that so bad. I saw like bits and pieces of the videos of the Grendel map, and it was just awesome.
Absolutely. Not to mention, I really had my fingers crossed for a version of Jason that I think kind of gets ignored a lot of times, or at least not talked about very much. The Kane Hodder Jason at the beginning of Jason X.
Oh yeah.
Before he becomes Uber Jason.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that look at the beginning of that movie. He had that more human look to him.
You can see more Kane through anything than you could. Yeah, I remember that.
And I was kind of hoping, had my fingers crossed that maybe there was a chance we could see that in the game.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And I mean, there was still the hope that we saw with the rights and everything that they would bring in the Freddy vs. Jason,
Yeah,
Jason, and as well as the 2009 remake.
yeah.
Jason, that I always kind of nicknamed that's the Jason from, if he was from the Hills Have Eyes family.
Yeah, he sure did. But do you think they would have done a DLC map for the Youngstown Morgue? You think that would have came up in this one?
I would have enjoyed
That'd have been cool, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, or even maybe, what if they played with the, how Jason switched bodies? Like, came up with a mode where, like, you could have went from counselor to counselor.
Yes.
They had a Jason Goes to Hell mode.
That would have been cool. Yes, that would have been a hell of a... Yeah.
Like, you blew him up, and
Yep.
then, like, you did that whole storyline where maybe that's the situation where you're going through. And,
Oh, yeah, that would have been awesome.
Gun Media, I would hope that you could pull me in on the team. I
He
could be
deserves
looking
it,
for a
trust
new
me.
job.
If you're looking for somebody that knows Jason in and out and is a huge fan and can help you big time, you're looking at him right here. That, to me, would be an awesome story mode. Seriously.
That would be insane. The beginning, how they have the scene where it's set up where the kids are all there and then Jason comes in and kills somebody. Jason goes to kill somebody and the SWAT team blows them up.
Yes.
And then the next scene is at the morgue and
Youngstown Morgue, too.
Yeah, absolutely. You have City
get
of
that in there any way you
Youngstown,
can.
you have to sign off on this.
Yes.
Please.
Come on, it would be fun, guys. I mean, it's in the movie. All right, I don't know we're going to stray away for a second, but do you remember going to see that in the theater?
I was not able to. I was a little young.
All right, I just dated myself. Okay, I was in the theater watching that movie, and I remember it came up Youngstown Morgue, and I'm like, wait a minute, how do they do that? Like I'm
Now,
sitting
do
there
you know
thinking,
why?
no, I
Okay.
never knew why.
Well, here's a little tidbit that I found out later. I have a little inside knowledge, having a sister that has a medical background.
Okay.
The federal morgue
Yeah.
of the whole United States is in Youngstown. Every president that dies comes to Youngstown. Former, past, present,
Wow.
if they die, their body comes to Youngstown. And supposedly, the chief medical officer that works on the president
Yeah.
gets paid $1 million an hour to work on the president.
Jeez.
My sister had thought about being a trying to do that before she decided to be a doctor.
You
That-
think they got paid to work on Jason that day?
Well, I
Yeah.
have a feeling.
Well, that dude ate his heart, so
Yes.
I mean, that maybe that was his pay. I don't know.
Well, I do hope that it was slightly less than the girl who ended up getting Jason up the skirt at the end.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Because I heard she was a little upset about that because
Yeah, I
she didn't
did hear
realize
about
that was going to happen.
Yeah, so when she watched the movie, she saw that and was like, oh,
Oh, that's.
yeah. Mm-mm.
I didn't agree to that.
See, that's the fun thing about this. Not only do we get horror talk, we just learned a lesson here that I never knew about the federal morgue being a Youngstown thing. So that is legit. So see, if we can't sign off on something like that in a game, why not, people? Make it happen. Let's make it happen. Give
Why not?
Youngstown some notoriety. Okay, dude, it's been a blast talking to you about the games. Again,
Thank you,
if it was
sir.
not for you, I would not be playing this one. So I definitely appreciate it. I would love to see some type of horror game, if not Gun Media, based off what they did. Like, if you guys don't take note of how popular this was, and other games would just follow suit with that. I don't. For me being a Halloween fan, I've never had anything other than the Atari Halloween, few PC games over the years and stuff like that. But to have something you can play on an Xbox or PS4 that has this kind of detail, whew, I'm waiting for it, man. I'm waiting for it.
Not to mention Robert Englund at this age. You know, obviously he's been making all kinds of different movies
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
You're telling me he couldn't come back and do the voice for Freddy?
Oh man, in a game.
In a game? And it could be a standalone
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street or a Freddy vs. Jason.
Truthfully, I think for that, I think he put the makeup on again and do scenes for the game. I really do. I think he would.
It's possible. He could
I
do the
think he would.
mocap. I mean, he's getting up there, though.
Yeah,
He is
yeah. I think he just turned
70?
71. I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm still saying at 71,
Oh yeah. He's got Freddy in him. I mean, he is Freddy
absolutely.
Krueger. Yeah, man. Again, take note, people. If you're making games, making horror games, not just any regular horror game, but based on a movie. Take note of Friday the 13th, the game, and let's get some other ones out there too, please. Please, based on these horror movies. Again, man, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll definitely see you back again.
All right.
And we'll be back